This is the Darien Sewer Commission regular meeting agenda of Tuesday, June 7th, 2022 at 4:30 p.m. We are live and in person in room 206 at Town Hall. First, calling the meeting to order. Will you give that 4:33? The first item on the agenda is to approve the minutes of the May 3rd meeting. Minutes. That was the other thing.
I didn't see anything.
Yeah.
Well, these two, wow, oh, that's a strong endorsement. Can I make?
I would make a motion to approve the minutes.
Oh, that was for me, technically.
No, you can keep mine.
May 3rd, 2022.
Do I have a second? Oh, we have first and second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? The minutes are approved.
Who's first, second?
One, two.
Me
Yeah, or
first.
Peter. He was.
And Peter second.
Peter second.
Oh, Pete was second.
Yeah, I think you beat me.
All right, now we are settled and focused for item number 3 on the agenda, which is the residential development of 7 Sedgwick Avenue.
Before we go any further, can I ask Mr. Maslin a question? Do you know who I am?
No.
Okay. I'm Bob Hill.
Oh,
You spoke to me on the phone.
oh yeah,
I'm no longer in that position.
okay,
Would you like me to recuse myself?
not at all.
Okay.
Well, that's your first mistake.
Not at all.
Nice
Bob,
to
Bob.
meet you.
Yes.
I'm sure we met in person many years ago.
We did.
And Bob, that you were a member of
The Darien, I was the president of the Darien Fire Department, which
and a budding owner of.
of 7 Sedgwick, yes. And there was some negotiations which fell through, so I wanted to ask Mr. Maslin if he was.
Really, in my perspective, it's really your decision whether or not you feel as though you have a material conflict that would impair your judgment on the matter.
I didn't, but I wanted to strengthen the case, shall I say?
Understood. Floor is yours.
Good afternoon. I am here. First of all, you all know me, but I'm Robert Maslin. I represent the applicant or the developer here. With me is Jim Rotundo of Landtech, who is going to give you more of a technical explanation of what's going on. This is a multifamily or multi-unit apartment development, and through Darren, I guess you want to talk to us about what the project is and what we need to do in order to satisfy you that we can connect and everything will be okay. And it's more of a question about capacity and the condition of the system and those sorts of things. So I think the better, more efficient way to start is to have Jim kind of lay out what we're doing, and we'll go from there. We'll have a discussion.
A couple of handouts.
Please.
Pass these out for you.
I would have looked at them earlier if we had them.
This is a copy of the site plan and also some flow calculations from the site. From the former and the proposed conditions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
As Attorney Maslin said, the project is for a proposed multifamily residential development. There's 22 total units. There is going to be 14 one-bedroom units and 8 two-bedroom units. The former use on this site was for a bank. The flows, as I calculated on here, the total estimated sewage flows for the bank use were 245 gallons per day. For the proposed use, which are the multifamily residential units, as well as there's a small rental office, is 4,520 gallons per day, resulting in a net increase of the average daily flow of 4,275 gallons per day. Based on, I had a chance to view the video of the previous meeting, just to kind of prep on the analysis and understand that there's flow metering, which we may have to undertake. I did review, I was able to find some of the previous reports online in this area, as well as reviewing the Arcadis report, their flow monitoring locations and so forth. Seems pretty extensive what they did. There is some flow metering locations which are in our area, and that was done in 2020. So I guess one of the questions I do have, and you could discuss it with Darren, is would it be possible if we use that data from that flow monitoring? Darren, we've kind of been playing phone tag, so we haven't had a chance to sit down and really discuss what direction we should go in here, so we need to sit down and do that. Darren indicated he has some additional information that we could review. So that's kind of at the point where we are at right now.
Okay. Yeah, what I would say is probably what Darren has said, which is we need to make sure the downstream sewer infrastructure has capacity to accommodate the increase in sewage effluent being discharged to it. I'll add that this ties into the Mechanic Street sewer, correct, Darren?
Excuse me?
This ties into
Goes down Mechanic Street.
Yes.
Mechanic Street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then goes into the Post Road, underneath the Post Road, Railroad Bridge.
Under the
So
rail.
I'm aware that we have had some issues in the past with the Mechanic Street line. It may have been related to fats or clogging or things like that, but it is a line that we have had issues with in the past. So I would say that our antennas are maybe up a little bit higher only because we're aware that we've had some issues here before. And you know, we don't want to do anything that exacerbates that. So I don't know where our flow monitoring was done downstream of here, and how relevant that is to the specific location we're tying in. I would leave that sort of decision up to Darren. I certainly would welcome Darren talking to Arcadis if that was helpful to staff. Yeah, we want to know what's in there. We want to understand the how bad the I&I problem is versus the base flow. So we want it in there for a little while so you capture a reasonable storm event. And that's really the start. You know, the question of where do you stop? You know, you saw the last meeting, it went a mile to a pump station. So really it has to do with, I think, where can you convincingly prove that whatever trunk or main that you end up hitting has sufficient capacity that you don't need to keep going.
Right.
And that's a judgment call, again, I think between you and staff on, you kind of hit that measure.
Understood.
I don't know, I'll give my commissioners an opportunity to voice any questions or comments they might have.
Yeah, I mean, it would be a question of downstream bottlenecks and points of SSOs in the past that I would be concerned with.
Yep.
Because this, I mean, you have flows coming down Old Kings Highway that come from the service area.
Correct.
So you can get substantial flows coming down that line. It comes underneath the highway, past the Historical Society, out to Old Kings Highway, and then down Old Kings Highway.
Oh, you mean from the highway?
Yes.
service?
Yeah, that's the headwaters, as it were.
Yeah, it's a lateral.
You wanna
I've been
call-
there
Well, no,
once or
no,
twice.
and it also comes from, if I remember right, Rory's, goes over to what I knew was the Plank House. I don't forget the
Boy,
name of
you
it now.
old.
Huh?
Boy, are you old.
Yes, I am, thank you. Plank House down through the property there at 125 where it's flat, through the ice rink over
Yeah,
to
yeah.
catch the service area.
They
Turns
went
right.
with the flat around the roads, yeah.
Yep, turns right to go on not the shopping center side of the Historical Society, but the other side of the Historical Society. which we learned when
You
they
can't
had to get
just
the
all goes in a
variance
different
because
direction.
of the
Correct.
AC unit they
Oh, so
wanted
this
to use.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't have an easement.
We're, we're right there.
And
Yeah.
then
Yep.
down,
It's right there. Flow
Yep.
metering.
Old Kings Highway, Mechanic Street.
Yep. And then it joins up with Post Road when it hits Post Road.
Yes.
And it's a flat, yeah, it's
Except for
flat
the,
run.
the Turnpike Rest area, everything on the other side of the Turnpike goes in a different path.
Yes.
Okay.
As, I'm doing this all from memory, so if I'm
Whatever the
wrong,
map shows,
forgive me.
correct. That can
Oh,
be-
you have one, okay.
I have that on a thumb drive somewhere, but I think I lost it.
Well, we should.
No.
After all that.
Unfortunately, here's my thumb drive right here.
It's your two thumb drive. Bearings.
The red circle you see in there,
Yep.
that's our site.
Yep.
And then just to the south of that was the location of the Mechanic Street flow
Yeah.
meter.
Yeah, so we do, when we get under when we get under the railroad bridge, effectively, that is a pretty large gathering point. Yeah. Do you, Darren, recall where the, or do you recall where the flow monitoring that Arcadis has is?
Yes, if I may.
Yeah,
Talking
go ahead.
about what project?
Arcade.
Corbin?
Did they do
Arcadis
Corbin?
Bank.
Arcadis,
Yeah.
no, I don't recall the Arcadis. They're all over the place.
The symbol for the flow meter was right about,
Okay, so they are capturing that, okay. So I mean, to me, that's a valuable point to analyze. I think it is valuable to analyze mechanic,
Is that like Heights Pizza?
kind of where you're tying in. Yeah, that's kind of what we're
Yeah.
talking about, yeah. Because that gets some, that's
Yeah.
like something coming in
Catches
from
it
West
slow,
and
yeah.
Mansfield and Mechanic Streets, all kind of,
Yep.
and then it's one pipe.
And then to Stony Brook.
Yep.
See, to me, I've looked at this more holistically, and less of an engineering on the micro, and how does it affect the whole system? And where are the problems in the system? More like you would flooding. When it rains here, how long does it take to get there? And that's, from our experience years ago in P&Z and EBC, where are the troubles in the system, and how does your project relate to that at what time?
Unfortunately, one of the problems in the system is directly in front of this property. You have
Yeah.
the circle.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's a lot of I&I there, right? And a lot of-
It's
Something.
usually related to wet weather, but there's also,
There's two components.
Mechanic Street seems to be the issue, or part of the issue.
You probably have a number of things contributing, right? You've got the rest area, which comes across 95, which we posit that may contain more grease than your domestic
Didn't they
sewage.
have a manhole they found in the middle of the median?
Well, there is one there that's, it's way up. And
Took a
and-
while
well,
to
and it
find
was,
Good
it was
luck getting the
low,
state to comply
and it
with
did,
anything.
that area did pond, and
Good
so
luck
we
as
lifted
the
it up.
state to comply.
Oh, okay, so they
Yeah.
did fix the pitch there.
Yeah, they
That's
did.
impossible. They own
Uh,
the highway.
And we're going under Goodwives River and adjacent to Goodwives River, so the opportunity for I&I is high, and, Mechanic Street itself, I think, is it, what kind of construction is it? The pipe?
It's a lined VCP pipe
So there
that
is line.
may have problems.
Yeah, okay.
It's pretty deep, too.
When was it lined?
I do not know. More than 22 years ago. I've been here 22 years, so.
Yeah. So it looks like the one flow monitoring location is good, and we definitely would want you to analyze there. I would like to see one on the Mechanic Street line to really understand that as well, since that's where we've had SSOs in the past. Now, hopefully some of the work that we're going to be engaging in the next couple of years will reduce that. I don't remember what some of the recommendations were in Mechanic Street from
Is that on the
the
list?
report.
So they reline it, or?
I don't remember.
I would hesitate
Yeah,
to say anything.
there was lots of different lines.
But Ed and I did discuss this internally. We're willing to share whatever we have.
Yeah.
Even information that hasn't come in yet.
Yeah.
Happy to give it to them. Happy to, they've already found some good stuff, I understand. But we're also willing to share, as an example, what other people in the area have done. And if they can use the data, great. Like the one that they haven't found online, and we must have it in the office someplace we're willing to share, is the old town hall homes.
Oh, yeah.
They did some, Commissioner might recall that
They went down a
you guys
bit.
made them
Yeah,
do some
down the
monitoring
post road.
there.
Yep.
So they did some pre-construction monitoring and did an analysis. Corbin Drive, I think you guys found that one, right?
Yes.
So I believe the meter there was at the intersection of Corbin and the Post Road, if
I believe
remember
so.
correctly.
Yes.
And as a result of that monitoring, the commission said, no, you can't allow the sewage to keep going down Corbin. You gotta make it to Leroy where the pipe upsizes.
Yep. So
So-
they're putting their own
rerouted
sewer
it,
into
yeah.
there, yep.
That's right, so they're gonna cross the Post Road down by Leroy,
Yep.
down by the sports shop there. That was a direct result of their capacity analysis before they did their project. So those are the kinds of things. The most recent one is Parklands. I don't know, it's not in the area, but it was a very well-done report. So happy to share that with them too.
Susan, do you have any thoughts?
I'm new to this commission relatively, and the one thing I liked from Parklands was that they said this will max out the system. And so, not that, that doesn't mean, it's not like stormwater, you can't put in a holding tank. But if you could provide us that information, that I find helpful, going up to 30,000 feet.
How full is full?
How
Yeah.
full is full?
Yeah. You'll give us the percentages of the
I found
different
that
pipes analyzed,
helpful
I'm
as
sure.
we're trying to
So
understand the whole system.
you said Parklands did what? Did it hit capacity?
In other words, when the engineer came in, one of my questions was, is this it for the system on Chasmere Pond, right? That's where it goes.
Yeah, it's the pump
And they
station.
said, if you were to develop all of the lots that haven't been put on the sewer, plus the 66 units at Parklands, that would max it out. But at that point, you're going to need to do something else to your system to improve it. So if you have that analysis, I find that helpful. Thank you.
Peter, do you have any thoughts? No. Okay. So those are my initial thoughts, but again, we have a lot of faith in staff to use their engineering judgment along with yours to make sure, again, we're here protecting the highest value, most underappreciated asset that belongs to the town of Darien. And really, that's all we're, as far as I'm concerned, what we're trying to do is to make sure that the existing system can accommodate these increases.
Can we just work with staff and not have to come back to the commission when, as we go through this?
Well, I mean, I would say,
I mean,
no,
other
I
than
would say
status
that
along
you've
the
got to
way,
get
but-
to the point where you've done the study, you've proven what you need to prove, staff
Yeah.
agrees with your approach, and then
Mhm.
come back to us.
Right, but we don't have to come back and,
No,
okay, we're gonna put meters here.
I don't want to do
That's all
design
staff.
by
So that's
committee.
pointless.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay, all right.
I think, again, I'll defer to Darren and Ed, and to the extent that they feel
Okay.
they want to counsel with Arcadis, that makes sense, but come back when you got something to say.
Did you get a sense, Bob, that it's not just 1,000 feet from the project? It's really the whole system?
No, I got that, it's
Holistically.
not,
Well,
you
that's
know,
what
you
they'll
only
do.
meet once a month, and it seems
Yeah.
like our opportunity has been, come to a meeting, and I think it's more
Well, I
efficient
think
if
it's
we can
great
work
that
this
you're
out
here
with the
and
staff.
get a sense of where we're all coming from.
Yeah, yep,
You got something, Darren?
Okay.
Okay, yeah, I think what Attorney Maslin is implying is that they have a time frame in planning and zoning. And I spoke to Director Jeremy Ginsburg today about that. One way we can approach that is they can extend their hearing deadline, or they can make a condition of approval that staff and the sewer commission are satisfied with this approach. And I suspect we're going to come back to you folks regardless of what we find. If we find that, hey, everything's hunky-dory, we're going to come back to you and tell you what we found. I mean, given the conversations that we've had over the past few months, where the commission wanted a chance to review something over a certain size, this is screaming out for us to all be involved.
Yeah.
Appreciate that you trust us.
Well, no, what I would say
No,
is this,
it's not
so
about that.
very, very clearly, the sewer commission and the sewer section of the Department of Public Works can't give a positive referral on this planning and zoning application until we feel comfortable that the system has capacity to receive the effluent. So
Agreed.
what
But on the other
what
hand-
Steve Olvani and Jeremy Ginsburg choose to do with that information is up to them, whether
Yeah.
they're willing to condition it or not, or they want to wait or not, that's not up to us.
But on the other hand, if you don't approve a connection, the project goes nowhere.
Exactly. But
So
how
whether-
can we
whether it's-
approve it if we don't know if it's just
Well,
going to
right,
be bubbling out on the
right.
surface of the street?
And whether we go through this whole process before we finish with zoning or afterwards really doesn't matter. At the end of the day, if
Yeah.
you're not satisfied that this is going to work, you're not going to approve the connection, and the project is basically stopped until
Yeah,
that's
if
all
I'm gonna
resolved.
Look down a tunnel into the future, tell you what you don't want. If whatever public engagement you're receiving at planning and zoning
Yeah.
ends with their approving something conditional on our approval, then we're going to enjoy the same public engagement. And I've really tried very hard to avoid being a quasi-land use agency, so.
I don't think that's the goal, Craig, no, not at all. It fits at chips.
Oh, it's not a
That's
goal,
it.
it's 100%.
No, no, I
Not a goal.
know what you're saying. I know
But,
what you're saying.
anyway.
Well, the way it would, if they approve it, they would approve it
Subject to.
not subject to, but on the condition that you're still required to get all the other approvals, like this building.
It'd be no different than CL&P not being able to
Correct.
supply you.
Right.
And again,
So
it's
there's a
not-
way to do it either way, but,
And that's not up to me.
It's not- right.
It's up to Steve Olvani and Jeremy Ginsburg,
yeah,
so.
and, you know, there's
But you can still meet
statutory
your time
extensions,
requirements, right?
there's statutory extensions that can,
Okay.
you know, it's like another, I don't know, 100 and some days by the time you're done adding all the extensions in.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if
So
you
we
can
can
buy
work
yourself a
through
little
that.
time and try to get the study done, that's probably the easiest thing to do.
Yeah,
You've got the data points to work with and start.
or you could always withdraw it and resubmit it too and start the clock again.
Yeah.
That's another way to do it.
Well, this is, the flow is really the critical thing, because if planning and zoning says, well, take this little piece off the building or that little piece,
Yeah, but
You
that
can do
doesn't
that.
help your flow.
but
Right.
if.
'Cause the flow is based
You
on
can't
the
get the
unit
flow
count.
through. You know, it seems that to me anyhow, if I were doing the project, I'd be interested in getting the mechanical things that are gonna make it work or not
Yeah.
done, or decided.
Mhm. Yep.
Great.
Okay.
Any other questions?
So
Thank you for your time.
we'll connect
Thank you
with
very much.
tomorrow.
The only thing I ask is,
You want this?
You could have it back.
I gotta tell you, and it's a personal thing, if you hand me information on the day of the meeting, I'm gonna throw it on the floor, because I need a chance to disseminate it. It's not fair.
We
Plain
have-
and simple.
Yeah, we have what's the word I'm searching for?
Pain in the
All we can do is deliver
No.
it to the staff.
Yeah.
Our
The
commissioners
staff
actually
doesn't-
read the stuff
Yeah.
and come prepared.
Yeah.
And so, I'm not saying others don't, but they actually, the weekend before, get the package and they go through it, and so it is.
Well, something that's a little more complicated than the usual, what you get in your packet, would you, do you
Well,
want it
that's all right.
maybe a week ahead of time?
Yeah, I mean, the more time you can give us, the
More time.
better. We do try to be customer service oriented, so we
Because
try to
could-
be
we could-
responsive,
I mean,
but
we could
at the
probably
very
just do it
least,
electronically, and then
We
you'll
need-
have it electronically.
the
so-
weekend.
I'm good with electronically. I just.
Yeah.
Wednesday or the Thursday before the Tuesday meeting. That's,
Oh, is it, if that's enough time, fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
because that's when we
We'll have the
distribute the
weekend anyway.
information to
Right,
them.
okay.
I mean,
Okay.
gotta give us a chance to look at it too.
Oh, yeah.
But,
Well, I would assume that you're gonna be working hand in hand with
Yeah,
staff.
Darren
They're
should
not
be
gonna
okay
get
with
it the same
everything
day,
before we-
because the other
No,
thing that
that-
I'm gonna do is look to Darren, and I'm gonna say, Darren, so you've read this, and you think it's smart and good, and I want you to have had the time to go back and
Right,
forth,
that's
right?
what I
So,
just said.
One of those reports we found is 1,999 pages, so if we give you a report like that, it might take you a couple of days
Yeah.
to go through it.
I'm a slow reader.
You got a printer that fast?
No,
don't give us that report.
no, you already have
It's
that one.
enough.
I'll take the summary.
That's the arcade.
sounds like
government
And on paper
10-page
copies,
PowerPoint was perfect.
do you want the appendix or do you just the executive summary part? Because that can,
What's the, I don't even know what it's in the appendix, probably not. I just want the meat and
Craig
potatoes.
knows. I mean,
Yes.
the executive summary of the whole appendix and everything.
Yeah, no, most of that stuff you really don't need to print.
PDF is fine.
That's where you're gonna rely upon staff, right?
Right.
Yes,
All right, we'll work it out with Darren.
thank you very much.
Okay.
Wasn't trying to be difficult, I just
No, no,
like, I
that's,
like to
you're,
come
it's a
prepared,
fair point.
as they all know.
And we appreciate it.
Very impressive.
All right,
All right.
next item on the
Thank you.
agenda.
Okay, thank you.
Moving on.
Take care, guys.
Where was the one I had? I just got a new one.
10 minutes.
I know, your back's gonna seize. Okay, now we're going to the superintendent's report. The superintendent's not even here, so.
Be fast.
Superintendent assistant.
You're at.
Where is the superintendent? Give us a report on him.
Superintendent is busy doing director of public work type stuff,
Oh.
the administration.
All right, give us the rundown.
Okay. Nearwater and Stony Brook, I handed out the pump station sewer, isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
What is that little piece of land in the
Yeah,
back?
what's the?
Yeah,
Parcel X back there.
very,
Is this
very,
a
very interesting. When we, I'll tell you a little story on that because I can't hold myself out as a lawyer, so. When we first got the map, the surveyor showed the property as one parcel with that little parcel connected to it. And I said, wow, that's really weird. The tax assessor's map doesn't look anything like it. And he gave me a little bit more of an explanation. Said, I said, are you sure it's not an easement? He said it was an easement, but then the deed calls it a taking. And I said, okay, well, we take a lot of land, especially private roads, for the purposes of sewers only. And he was adamant. He said, it looks to me like the land reverted to the town of Darien. And I said, okay, that's cool, but you gotta call it its own parcel because otherwise you did a re-subdivision without going through the planning and zoning process, even if they're both properties are owned by us.
Well,
In other words,
they could merge.
it's not merged, right? So
No.
there's
You have to
a,
go through that process.
No, it's common owner and it's.
there's a deed.
Yeah.
You can argue that it hasn't
It has
been
merged.
merged.
Yeah, there's a deed that shows that little parcel, 1,000-square-foot parcel, that it belongs to the town of Darien. But as far as I know, the surveyor has never found anything that shows that it's part and parcel with the main pump station site.
Where's the tax bill going for it? Does it exist? The
We
assessor's
don't tax
office?
ourselves. right?
No, I know, but if we.
Oh, for
merge-
this little thing.
Yeah.
So I guess with regards to that parcel, we can look into it more and see if
But does the surveyor believe that we own it?
he believes that we do own it. It
Okay.
belongs to the town of Darien. However, I can tell you that there's other places like Kelsey, Catherine, Moore,
Right.
where
Yeah.
Brookside Drive,
Yeah.
you look in the book and it says the town of Darien did a taking. Well, we don't plow the road and people have made that argument. You have to plow my road, you have to
Did we
pave
take-
it.
did we take an
And
easement or
we
did we
don't.
take
It's
a
not
piece
our
of
road,
it?
it's a private road.
Yeah.
It remains a private road, even though the word taking is in there. So when he said taking to me, it gave me pause. If we, down the road, decide that we want to fence off our property, and that indeed is part of the pump station property, or we want to make it a part of the pump station property, then I would suggest that we get a legal opinion to tell us that,
It's unimportant right now.
But
no,
it'd be clean things.
no, the other things that
Be nice to
Clean it up, Craig. It's worth,
For the
So you want
future.
Wayne to look,
I'd
or,
have town council look at it
Just look at
and
it.
give us an opinion and if.
Okay, sure.
And whether.
The deed references are right on the map.
And whether it's merged, because then you just.
I'm
clean
I'm
the
sure
line.
it's not
It's gonna
merged.
cost more for that opinion than it did for this map, just so you know.
Yeah.
So it's $1,500
I'm sure it's not
$2,000,
merged,
right?
because the way he explained it to me,
This stuff is,
what he found was, he had the site, and then he found that little parcel, and the little parcel was an easement, and then there was a taking. So it sounds like it became town property
Okay.
after and separate and apart from
So-
whenever we
if I'm an attorney.
got the site.
And someone asked me for an opinion, I asked for a title report
Right.
on
This
this,
is it.
this, and this.
And we're done.
Yeah,
This is it.
but you gotta go get title reports on all of that, you know, because they want the whole thing. They wanna know it was done
Yeah.
right, and they'll take the research from the surveyor, and they'll take the map, and then they'll look at everything, right?
Yeah.
So it's not a, look at this deed, what do you think? It's a-
However,
it's
as
a-
time goes by, it's just gonna be more expensive.
I have two areas of concern that would be for whether or not it's the town's property. And that would be manhole and concrete lid. Concrete lid. Especially what's under the concrete lid?
Well, I'm sure we have stuff on
It's all
there.
sewers.
Yeah,
That's all sewers, that's ours.
What's the difference between a manhole and a concrete lid?
Oh, well, the surveyor's observation, but
Yeah.
what I'm saying is that parcel, it was an easement, and we took it for sewer purposes, because there's a sewer that runs along Stony Brook River.
That's what the land records show, right?
so we were definitely involved.
Yeah, that's what the surveyor says.
And put stuff under there, and we have stuff under there.
Yeah,
Just like
there's
we
a,
have stuff under 100 different properties,
Yeah.
mostly through easement.
Yeah, but there's a difference between easement and owning, correct?
And that's what the surveyor has pointed out. that-
Okay.
That
Yeah.
this is
I'm
not,
just-
they didn't draw it as an easement, they draw it as if it was taken. Because
Okay.
of the language in a
Yeah.
deed that they found.
that's what hung me up, the word taking.
Could we put this on the land record, this survey?
I think eventually we're going to, yeah.
Maybe we don't
And
need
that
it.
brings us to the other things that I'm sure you guys noticed.
Plastic shed?
You got a plastic shed, it's straddling the line. You have a fence that's probably 20 feet away over by that barbecue grill. We now know about that, and we have some amount of time, I would imagine, to make others aware that we know that, to avoid adverse possession.
Yeah, I mean, so what would you do? Would you go around would you have that property boundary staked out in the field conspicuously
Where is the
now?
Oh, wait a minute.
And put some manner of either, yeah, I think we do need town council's opinion.
How hard would it be to move a plastic shed?
They
Off
don't,
of-
if they don't want to.
Well, yeah, no, this is about, oh, I thought my backyard went to
That's
here,
mine.
and now you're telling me it's not. It's not
Well,
hard or
I
not
think
hard.
I think it's always good to get those things
Cleaned up.
resolved and
Yeah.
cleaned up.
All right, so it sounds like the
Always.
consensus of the commission is have town council verify what the surveyor is telling you. And if that is so verified, prepare a map for filing on the land records. And also have the property boundary conspicuously marked with permanent monuments.
Oh, take that off though.
Permanent
Plastic
monuments.
shed. Get them to move it first, don't
Oh,
file it
yeah.
like that.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Oh, I see, on
Yeah.
that side.
Yeah, that'd be silly, because you'd be
Yeah, yeah,
giving
yeah.
them an easement.
Yeah, no, yeah, we wanna, you're right, I agree. But we wanna have, lath every 50 feet and something permanent and metal at the ends.
Fire pin.
To say, by the way, this is our property boundary, please remove your shed.
Just what's a bituminous fence?
By two
Oh,
minutes.
renewous, okay. Get the dirt off my glasses. Renewous fence.
Ruinous,
Ruinous. Means it's falling down?
I guess so.
Ruinous.
I've never seen that word on a survey.
If you step on it, you're gonna be ruined.
Exactly.
So the other things that I thought were interesting are,
Close.
it did that chain link fence, like dog run in the front.
Yeah,
I remember in my lifetime here in Darien.
there was
that,
electrical equipment there.
A bunch of
Over
transformers,
here?
right?
Yeah.
There was a bunch of transformers in the front yard there. So I asked the surveyor to come up with, tell us if there's an easement. He did not find an easement in the land records. He's going directly to Eversource to see if their surveyor can kick something up, point us maybe in the right direction. I'd love to extinguish the easement. It's no longer necessary. The equipment's all gone.
If
That's
there's-
our property. We could use it for something, or, you know, at least move the fence back,
Where
right?
you're referring, where it says X 11.9?
Yes.
Is it in here?
Okay,
Yeah, this whole area here.
okay, that's what I thought, but I wanted.
There was, I remember, and I know Peter will remember, there was, he's been on the commission a long time, so there was a bunch
That's
of
complicated, by the
electrical
way.
equipment there.
Yeah, it was all fenced in, right?
You've seen it too,
Yeah.
you grew up here,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, the summer of '89.
Thank you, I just wanna make sure I'm not crazy,
Yeah.
so.
Is that when you bought that guitar?
I never had a guitar. I have no musical talent.
89? Hey, you're young.
I was in college.
All right, do you need anything else from us on that?
No, is that a directive, is that a,
That's
it.
we'll go
Yeah,
get, we'll get a title
well,
search?
if they need to wait till the easement thing, but yeah, have the town attorney verify the surveyor's finding.
Okay,
And write a letter about the shed.
I mean, because we are gonna be doing some hardening there.
letter about the
just-
shed.
Don't you think, Craig, a letter about the
I
shed?
think we're better off
Well, yeah.
doing this ahead of time, no?
Yeah, let's get it all straightened out.
Yep.
I agree, you've convinced me, guys.
Okay,
It was
I mean,
hard.
I understand your,
You're being frugal, I admire
know,
that.
that's
Nothing
very
ever,
admirable.
ever wrong with that.
okay,
I'm also-
there's another 0.5% on the,
B,
Oh, he's right.
well, I'm also hopeful Nearwater,
oh,
that I'll have a map like this for you on Nearwater.
next
For the
time.
show. So,
Yeah, I'm not gonna meet my 40-minute deadline here.
so next time, next meeting, I hope to have a Nearwater
Got 3
meeting for it,
minutes.
a Nearwater map for you. Also, while we're on the topic of Stony Brook, we had one of our pumps was down. We had it all rewound. It was installed today. And I've been reporting to the commission that we're planning on plugging up the pipe. There's that abandoned pipe. They're supposed to do it today. I just don't know if it was done. We're gonna stay on that until we figure out whether or not that pipe is taking on groundwater.
Is that at Stony Brook Pump Station, or where was that?
Yeah, there's 2 pipes that run along the river, and one of them was abandoned,
Really?
but,
Could it have been when they redid the bridge there, in like the '80s?
I think they needed a bigger pipe. I don't think that's something they're gonna do at the bridge, because there's 2 pipes, and one of them is much larger, and that's the active one. But, again, to refresh you guys' memory, the end of Crimmins Road, there's a manhole, put some dye in it. It's like standing water. It took a long time, but it came out at that manhole at the back of the pump station. The dye eventually showed up, so there might be some slow movement of water. There might be a sump pump connected to the old line. That's why we want to plug it up, like we did on the Post Road over by Penny's wedding
Right.
shop there. So if we plug it up and leave it for a couple days, let's see what happens. Sort of related, I think that property behind to the right there is being purchased. So that will no longer be an issue.
On Crimmins?
The property, not directly behind the pump station, but behind it, if you're looking to the back, to the right,
Okay.
I believe there's some FEMA money, and that house is being acquired.
Has been acquired,
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's gonna be, it's gonna be
demolished.
beautiful, right? That's
Yeah.
gonna be one less thing that can go
Those-
wrong.
Those people
That's
had
the whole
such
point.
horrific.
And not just that, though, we have an easement through there for our sewer. It's gonna be our property. That's makes things access. I'm hopeful that it'll make everything easier
Okay.
for us. It'll give us more access, more ability to maintain our sewer, inspect it, whatever. That's all I got. Sorry, took longer.
Well, you did A and E. Anything on B, C, and D?
I don't have anything on B. That's where the superintendent would be much better than the assistant superintendent. I know we're moving forward. I'm answering emails with Arcadis all the time. I just don't have a bid date where I don't know if one exists. That's where I'm lacking. So, C?
C? Anything on C or D?
Want to talk about C? Okay,
It's your time.
you're the chairman. Okay, there's nothing going on today. But they have been chipping and digging and exploratory, doing everything out there. I think last month we reported that they decided they weren't gonna blast. Well, they're still not blasting. They went out there and they drilled in hopes that the hoe ram would break away the rock more judiciously, and they would be able to make better time, which they did.
Of the new sewer that they need to install, how much have they installed?
All of it.
Oh, okay.
Except for the laterals. So now, not a small task. For most of this week, they were digging on both sides of a huge water main and the 345 kW electrical line, trying to
They didn't want
get.
to blast?
They were digging on both sides. You know,
I think the insurance guy.
that's something that I don't know. I mean, if they hit rock underneath that duct bank, what would they do? How do you chip under a duct bank?
Drill.
From what I saw, so far it's not an issue where they're digging to the east, and they dug in front of and on the other side of the electric bank, made sure they can get down far enough, and then right next to that is a water line. So they're kind of like designing it on the fly. They know where the sewer is, and they're gonna go into the building as soon as they get clearance under those two utilities. I drove by today, there was no sewer work going on, but the project's really coming up out of the ground.
And no problem with pitch as they hit all these.
Well, we lost some, unfortunately. It's 0.2%, which I hate too.
It's flatter than I would ever design anything.
But here's the thing. You have a manhole that you're connecting to, and a manhole that you're connecting to, and that's all you've got. You don't have anything else. So we have the sewer coming in from Old Kings Highway South, going up Corbin, and when you get to that manhole that you're connecting to, it's
Can you
It's not the
pump
best.
something like that?
Yeah, you can pump anything.
Okay.
it's
So could they add a pump?
no,
No.
it's a gravity pipe. It's flowing.
The uses are mostly residential.
No, both.
Hey,
Restaurants.
You got
For
some
all
office
of the Baywater
buildings.
Corbin project, that's gonna have.
No, I'm just
rest-
thinking, but would that section be restaurant as well?
You
Or
have
retail?
non-residential flows.
Yeah.
Let's think about this. Air Freight International, which is now an office building on Tokenique, Zoto's, I don't know what they made that into. Those are pump lines that discharge at the intersection of Tokenique and Old Kings Highway South. Coming down Old Kings Highway South, you have
So
a
all of
series
that,
of
all of
office
that will now
buildings.
be at almost flat pitch.
And
What's the size of the line they're installing?
back streets.
Yeah.
All of the Darien Social, I don't know if it's called that anymore.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
Center Street too.
No, but I don't know the flow directions, so anyway.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Old Kings Highway South from Tokenique.
Okay, it's
Bam.
coming from
It's Corbin
Tokenique.
and it goes.
Okay,
Okay,
what part of Tokenique drains there?
believe it or not, the two I mentioned in the beginning are south of I-95. You got
Office
Zotos
buildings,
and
yeah.
Air Freight International, they
So
pump.
also the building that's for sale?
Yeah.
The New Life Fellowship Church
Yeah.
Dinner
The old
Theater?
Darien Dinner Theater?
Yep,
Absolutely.
okay.
Taste of Italy.
Okay.
All of
And
those,
that-
the
And
strip
that other
mall.
office building that I have no idea.
Yeah, whatever it's called.
Yep.
Well, and even the two buildings on the Tokenique
The
Road
Ex- the
side.
Exxon building,
I'm
whatever
gonna
that
say
is.
that's-
Past?
Yeah, the deli there. Then you have the strip mall. You got Center Street 2, where Back Streets used to be.
But
I
the
don't
two
know what's it
office
called.
buildings that are past I-95?
Yeah.
Yeah, the ones that are south of
The
I-95.
Zotos and Diageo?
Aren't
Yeah.
they redoing
Yeah.
those to something?
I don't know.
Okay.
Well, they pump to the intersection of Old.
So there's a reasonable amount of flow during the
Yes,
daytime?
yes, and all of Brush Hill, Andrews Drive, a
Wow.
little bit of Old Kings Highway South, that all comes under the bridge goes
I
to
remember
a
that.
siphon and discharges into Corbin Drive also.
Wow.
And there's a few of the new office buildings that are gonna connect into that new sewer as well on
Oh.
Corbin.
Right.
Oh, so the flow is
That's what
up
digging right
Corbin
now.
Drive. That's where I'm confused.
Those two post road and then down
It's,
post
it's,
road.
That's
it's
right.
from
Goes-
Old Kings Highway to the post road.
Yes, by
Okay.
Corbin Drive. It goes towards the
So the
post
flat
road,
part
not
we're
Corbin
talking
Drive.
about is
It's
getting
going
the
up
water
to the
from the
post road.
intersection of Old Kings Highway and Corbin to Post Road and Leroy.
And
Okay.
Andrews and.
Yeah, sorry about that. We have, that's always been
Yeah,
a
so
a
we know there's
slow
flow
line.
in there, we know this pipe is big enough to handle the flow.
Will you just, what was the size of the line? That didn't get answered.
What's that?
How big?
Size of the line.
Oh. It's not an 8. It might be a 15.
That affects what slope.
Might be
you're
a
allowed to
12.
go at.
So you
I'm gonna
think
go
it's
with
a
12.
Oh, you're gonna say 12. Okay.
Is it
And-
on the map that the engineer gave you?
No,
No.
it's too hard to read.
The sizes are, how the
Is there
sizes are.
a way of cleaning that section that's flat out easily with two manholes on either side, kind
Well,
of?
the same way as everything else, you jet it. I mean, so the concern is not that water, water flows downhill, so the water's gonna flow downhill. The concern is when you get really flat, you get low velocity. When you get low velocity, you get solid settling out. When you get solid settling out, you get
Clog.
buildup and clogging. So that's the issue. You
Which
want-
could happen with restaurants, correct? They're not
Sure, what
really
can happen
ready.
with wet wipes from your toilet.
Okay,
So it can
okay.
happen with anything.
Yes.
All right.
You need it.
I'm still trying to
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
understand everything.
Fats, oils, and grease from
Fats, oils,
restaurants
and
certainly
grease.
help,
Uh-huh.
but
The
those,
wipes
those
would
wonderful
be a
wet
problem.
wipes would be
Yeah. Okay.
another part of the problem.
And as we reported at a previous meeting, staff did meet with Baywater specifically in regards to all of the types of fog and grease traps that we would allow, and so.
But they'll be all set, right? But
Yeah,
it's-
they'll be-
it's-
they're working,
We're talking about
yes.
the whole sewer shed and what the potential for. So anyway, the
Okay.
concern to have is, does this extra flat pipe create a maintenance problem for the town of Darien? That's the concern to have.
But it's all new, correct?
It's all new. It's all gonna be
So then
PVC. It's
I
gonna
was
be
gonna
nice
say,
and
it's-
smooth.
the coefficient
gonna
of
be tight.
friction in PVC
It's
is
low.
much better
Correct.
than vitreous clay pipe.
Yep. So what you want is for, from time to time, the sewer throughout the
Yeah.
course of a day to get to a self-erosive velocity, right? Where there's enough water flowing through it
Yeah.
that it gets up to 2 or
That's
3
correct.
feet per second and it can push anything through.
That's the engineer's term, we call it scouring velocity.
Scouring, I think you're probably right.
That's okay.
I
no,
just
no,
make
I'm
up words
just-
that sound right.
3 feet per second.
Sounded perfect. But anyway, we should also be considered that a lot of those
See, you
office
can't
buildings
make
could
it till you
be
make it.
potential conversion to residential and have increased flows. You know, that's been one trend, is the office space is not producing enough
produce.
income. People wanna convert it to residential, and that would increase the flows through that. Everything on Old Kings Highway South, the Exxon, the old glass buildings, and the office buildings there, and the Zotos and the Diageo building could easily be converted to residential down the road. So when we're looking at a pipe that could be a problem, you add more.
We would definitely come back to the commission on that.
No, I know, but if the system is X and you keep adding, where's
Yeah.
the straw?
That's why we're
Right.
talking.
That's what we've been
That's-
asking all
That's
along.
that's gonna always be my question. I know that it's not like stormwater, you can always add holding tanks and increase the pumps.
Or pressure, you know. you can-
Right,
Yeah.
but,
It's worse than stormwater.
With sewer, you can add holding tanks that discharge during the night.
At night.
Yes.
See?
right, I get
But
that.
then it just is.
But you don't like the maintenance
It's a
of that.
different, it's a whole different,
They're gonna have that with power very soon.
I've never
We're
seen
headed
it.
there.
Yeah.
well, it's,
I've
it's,
always
Same
thought that,
thing.
I've never
it's
seen
like
it.
the Orient
Why-
building that you were talking about.
Why do you
Whatever-
size the
whatever
parking lot
that
for
is.
Christmas Eve? Why do you size the electric for August
Yeah.
at 5 PM
Peak
in the
demand.
afternoon? Why do you
Right.
size the sewer for,
Or
dinner
the
time?
stormwater for that July storm.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
no, you need to.
Well, that we
size
can't do
the-
anything about.
I
but,
know.
You know, halftime of the Super Bowl, because if you've ever seen the
Yes.
That's
sites,
right, the water company used to say
at
that, that's it.
halftime of the Super Bowl.
If you're residential.
Halftime is-
Well, I mean, what they're doing
They
on
said they can
Corbin
tell
Drive,
halftime
right?
is
I mean,
at
they're
the
kind of
water.
just
Jams.
doing what they can do, but does that meet our requirement?
Well, look, we've already looked at this, right? So we're,
I mean, they're not doing.
there's
what-
no conversation to have. We've already approved it,
Yeah.
right? So we looked at what they were proposing, we approved what they were
But are they
proposing,
building
they're
the
doing
way
it.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it ended up a hair flatter, I don't know if that's.
Yeah.
So when that happens, when things don't go as approved, you just let it go?
Do the best we can.
Okay.
That's, when they dug it up and they shot that manhole and shot this manhole, in effect, it's always been that way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, because it never, we're working with what's out there, and we can't make it more, that means it's always been that way.
But to engage in this, oh, go ahead.
I mean, if, you know, if because of things that perhaps they did not have control of, and you
Yeah.
don't get the slopes exactly as they planned,
Yeah,
you know, I would think that there would be, you know, some liability on their side to, if that becomes a problem, to add some sort of a pumping
Right.
mechanism to relieve that, because they're the ones who would benefit from it if it clogs up, you know.
well, it's a very interesting question, because they're building it in the public right of way, and at the end of the day, they're gonna come to Darren and Ed and say, here are the as-built drawings, are we done? And Darren and Ed are gonna say, yeah, you're done, and when Darren and Ed say, yeah, you're done, it's ours.
We own it.
Well, that's true, but I mean, maybe,
But could they say it's not done? I'm really just asking questions because I don't know.
Well, if you think of the lay of the land, I mean, that's why I was confused, because Corbin Drive goes up to the post
It's
road.
so
Right.
deep there.
So that's gotta make it very deep in the
It is
post
so
road.
deep.
But you're saying, okay, field conditions, turns out, we're not gonna be able to get 0.25% slope, we only got 0.2% slope. Are Darren and Ed, or us, able to say, well, that's just not gonna work?
What if it was 0.1? That's my question.
Yeah,
So if
yeah,
it's
yeah.
Flat.
0.1, because it's totally flat,
Yeah.
are we gonna say, okay, well, now you need to do something more, you have
You
to.
need to do something different, whatever the solution is.
Whatever it is, you
This
have
one
to-
is no longer working.
Exactly.
Yes.
Okay, I'm just asking.
I'm thinking of it more like flagging areas of concern for future maintenance.
True.
And more than
That's
anything,
another-
that's why I asked where the manholes were. Because when you jet something, if it's 200 feet, and you're pulling
At-
out the
at
rod.
the end of the day, the
I'm just saying,
engineer
if
that
there's a way to
says-
put another manhole or whatever,
Yeah.
that's why where I was coming from, for maintenance.
The engineer that says this
Ease
is
of
gonna
maintenance.
work
Mhm.
needs to know that the lower slope is still gonna convey the amount of sewage it needs to convey, and they're gonna need to know that it gets to the scour velocity that it needs to get
Mhm.
to. So, at some point, there is a threshold where it doesn't work, and the solution has to change to
Okay.
something that does work.
But that would be something where you wouldn't just have to say, okay. You would be able to say you have to do something more.
I
or
mean,
something.
But
just-
what
Yeah,
was the
Look
slope?
at it again.
And I don't know how flat it got, but I seem to remember there being a conversation over on Heights Road that it was really flat.
Yeah.
How flat is that? Is that
Didn't they
flatter
do
than
it-
2%?
I don't know.
I mean, but,
I remember that came in, right. It was very flat.
I mean, with the-
For
with-
Palmer's, right?
It was one of the,
Yeah.
I think it was Palmer's, because Federated is very close to the,
Yeah.
the
It
culvert.
was right where Edgerton came down there, I think.
I imagine
That
that,
culvert's of concern to begin with.
I imagine that, you know, what they're doing now must be kind of ghastly expensive,
Oh,
right?
Oh, yeah.
crazy.
I'm
So,
sorry, this
I
chipping
mean,
stuff
we-
sounds really expensive.
Well, what I'm thinking, we would not, at least I would not like to have someone come and say, well, we don't get the flow in Nowtown, you fix it, huh? What?
Right.
You know, with
shouldn't
what?
become our
How
problem.
much money is that gonna cost?
Well, I mean,
Before they turn that over, we accept it, or anybody accepts it, I mean, at least it has to meet the minimum.
I guess what Peter is saying is when their engineer
Yeah,
signs off
certifies
on it at the end of the day,
Make sure he
it's
has a
gotta include a
liability
report
policy.
that says 0.2 works,
Yeah.
and here's how.
Make sure he has a liability policy from Chubb. It's unlimited.
No,
We like Chubb.
I don't think it's that.
Chubb
Things are
pays.
gonna happen in the field, but we need to know how our system functions
Yeah,
for
well,
future
but still, I
development.
mean, you could end up, you know,
That's fair.
being
Because-
very surprised when everybody gets loaded up in that.
Yeah, call clogged. No wonder why that happened.
But,
You're right,
but
exactly.
putting a pump station there, well, I guess there you could, but
It'd have to be internal. to-
My only question
No,
was,
it
how
could be
easy
a
is it to
regular-
maintain if you know something might fail?
Well, I
Where are
can
the
tell you,
cleanups?
that's one of our hot spots. It's a section of pipe that we frequently check and have always had to clean. It's unfortunate that there are some areas that need it all the time, and I'm sure there's sewers we haven't seen because they're just fine, and there's never a problem. That section, we used to call it Restaurant Alley. There was grease problems before we started the fog problem, and it's something that we always had to pay attention. Every once in a while, somebody would call and say there's an odor problem. We would blow the pipe out, clean it out. Maybe some solids were resting there. This will be a brand new PVC pipe. It was pressure tested, so up some, make the flow go a little bit better.
Do you ever anticipate when Arcadis is more complete, that a maintenance schedule, less than like I remember, let's go out and do that, could be developed yearly for every area, that this might be every 3 months here, there in Corbett, and it's on a schedule?
Whole bunch of PVC pipes holding wire.
Yeah.
So the wires that you see on the telephone poles that go in the air, when they put them underground, yeah,
Very
it's a
leaky.
big pipe.
I've been in a 50-year-old elevator room with open contactors that I was told when you walk through the room, keep one hand.
Scary.
Yep.
That was close enough.
What are we on now, Darren?
I have nothing on D, near water generator.
Is that what,
Mm.
We didn't forget about that, and Penny's been working on it. Penny took it upon herself to start building a
she's
spreadsheet.
amazing.
awesome.
She's awesome.
Thank you.
She's awesome.
Thank you,
She's got a
Patty.
question.
Okay.
The question is, which ones are you looking at? Like, for example, if somebody came to you and they said, hey, I just bought this house and you can't charge me what the guy was here before, the resident before us, it seems that's the kind of.
Thank you.
Put it in the minutes too.
One of the ones that we were thinking that you would not care about is, for example, the FEMA. That's been condemned or whatever, the people aren't living there, you gave them a break. We would suspect you're not interested in that.
No,
right?
that's an incredibly unique situation. No,
Yeah.
the desire, if I could restate it, is that we kind of have a set of administrative policies for how to handle the bulk of appeals that come before us. So we can make sure we continue to strive for fairness, but also strive for consistency, right? We forget the appeals we granted 2 years ago, and then we might treat someone differently when they walk in the door, and that's what I don't want. I want staff to be able to understand, well, this is how they usually, the information they usually need and they usually look at for these sorts of appeals. So, it's basically understanding the categories of appeals and then what over time has developed as an administrative policy related to which appeals those are.
Because you guys deal with a ton of people that walk in, and it would be helpful to know what we.
Yeah, they should have a playbook. You should
Yeah.
know what
Yeah.
what someone can say.
Fairness and consistency, I like both those concepts.
So when someone comes in with the irrigation flow, there's a little 3 sentences on this is what we usually require.
Yeah.
Someone comes in
Checklist.
with- Yeah.
Makes everyone's life easier.
Okay, thanks, that's good direction. 15 Great Hill, this is, you're done with that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, 15 Great Hill, let's call that G. This is one of the sewers that was put in, didn't know about it, made him go back, made him TV, made him prepare an as-built drawing with the transmitter, right? That's one of the ones, there's more than one, unfortunately.
Was that a new house, newer house, like 7 or 8 years old, or was it?
It's been there a while.
It might be 15 years, but I think I remember it. It's near the top.
And I don't remember if it was a tear down or not, but
No, I don't remember the number, but.
somehow they connected, whether it was an existing house or a new house. And it's been in existence for a while, and we chased them after we found out, got them signed up, they're paying their bill. They gave us an as-built drawing. Unfortunately, part of the as-built drawing, what we found was a couple of sections were the wrong pipe, it's STR 35, and there was a sag. one portion of the pipe as well. Bring to your attention, the slag is slight. It doesn't concern us. It's a lateral. The commission in the past has allowed SDR 35 pipe to stay in the ground. This is a situation where the SDR 35 has been in the ground for a number of years that we didn't know about, yet it's still okay when you look at it.
I believe it's allowed by plumbing code, it's just not allowed by our local reg.
Excuse me?
Isn't SDR 35 allowed by plumbing code?
No,
International plumbing? It's
not, we don't allow it.
I know, Darien doesn't allow it, but I think it's
Oh,
actually
yeah,
allowed by the
Stanford,
IBC.
they put it in every place.
Yeah.
We allow SDR 35 6-inch.
Yeah.
But the 4-inch is a little thinner wall, and our code of ordinance says cast iron are equal. The commission gave us some direction a long time ago.
Before
that
me.
Schedule 40, PVC, C900, those are all cast iron equivalents.
I would generally agree
But
with
we
that.
never gave permission to put SDR 35 in. We obviously weren't there. We would have not allowed them to do it, but nevertheless, it is in the ground. It's been there for a long time, and we just
Has the house conveyed, changed hands, or what's the history of, doesn't really matter, they didn't know.
no.
Now we know.
As far as I know, this guy's been there a few years,
Okay.
so maybe it came up when he bought the house or did work on the house. I don't remember, because there's unfortunately quite a few of these.
Yeah, well, it's good we're
Which
finding
is-
them as time goes by.
Yeah, it really goes by. So if the commission has any thoughts on that?
I mean, my thought is, why are we even talking about it?
Okay,
Right?
we're fine.
If it was a slight situation and technically you're comfortable with it, like, why would we bring it to 5 citizens of the
I
town?
don't mind,
to
I don't
choose
mind
them?
having
Yeah,
another
okay.
business and hearing it,
If I
not
was-
at all.
Okay.
I love the education.
No, it's,
If I was to make the decision based upon my experience with the commission, my decision would be, I'm gonna put a note in the file.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I mean,
That's-
what if it was orange, definitive
Well,
orange?
we have engineers
Well,
that we pay to oversee this stuff.
Yeah, but I don't mind.
But it's
hearing-
already-
I don't mind hearing another business.
I'm
because
fine,
it's
I'm fine
not
hearing
one.
another business, but, so, you know what, this is the way I would say it, this is the way I would say it. In
When it
some,
is Orangeburg, then we'll.
some regulatory agencies
we'll do
and some municipalities have a section that say, basically administrative approves. And it's like, by the way, we approved these 3 things this month. If you got an issue with that, raise your hand.
So that's
Yeah,
what
but I
he's
don't mind.
doing.
That's what he's
Yeah,
doing.
yeah.
I love, I think it's perfect.
I like the education, to be
Yeah.
quite
But
honest with you.
I
I don't know
it
what
should be
Orangeburg
presented
is,
as
but I'll
such.
look it
Right?
up.
Not like, hey, what do you guys think?
It's
You
an
know,
old
like,
time pipe.
Okay,
Horrible.
horrible old pipe.
Horrible.
Okay.
It was basically paper impregnated with tar, rolled in a circle and made a pipe.
It wasn't even
If
good for
it
drainage.
was on the ground, you could poke your high heel shoe through
You
it.
could just crush it.
So I don't know why they made it, but okay.
It was cheap.
It was cheap.
Yeah.
All right, not for sewers.
Thanks.
Okay, G is
Can I
it?
do one more?
Yeah.
H.
H.
You're taking Bob's.
She needs one. I'm not gonna ask you to make any decisions. H.
This is amazing.
Heights Road.
We're never gonna end this
There's
meeting.
the new model.
Heights Road, okay.
Heights Road, our sewer foreman, Steve Toscano, had some concerns about some of the pipe out in the road there.
It's awesome that Steve.
Yep,
Steve is-
Steve got that one.
Awesome.
Also,
Gold star.
we had an
Yeah.
SSO at the beginning of the year, not a big one. Nevertheless, other area that might be a problem, which,
Where's that one?
right as you get to Park Place, that way, and you take a right onto Roten.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
As soon as you cross over the culvert, right on the right, there's a sewer line there.
Tulsetti's Brook.
So,
Is there a
55?
tree that can be removed that would help with the root situation?
It's flat there. That sewer pipe was visible in the stream. It's
Oh,
exactly, yeah.
I know where you're
It's-
going.
They moved back to where they used to live.
Yeah, so it's-
yeah, the only issue we have there is the roots, which we'll take care of. Just
Okay.
Is there a
report.
willow tree near there or something that would have,
What's that?
is there a willow?
Wonder which
willow-
tree is doing it?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. If there is, they're notorious.
Yeah.
They'll
I
get
know
in
the
sewer
roots
and
keep
go
growing
clean.
once the tree comes down, because I have that issue at my house.
I had it in my septic up north. It was a rootzilla. It was a compacted, just complete root
So
system.
this gets me into the work that we're going to be engaging in the next 2 years, and the work that will continue on beyond that as we continue to video scope more and more areas, you know, that half of the water that we're sending to Stamford that's clean is gonna reduce significantly,
Excellent.
Let's
which
hope. Let's hope.
Reduce our bill.
reduces our bill,
Yeah.
but it also increases the open space in the sewer, right? The sewer will have more capacity because we've gotten the clean water out of it.
Well, that sounds like a good thing, too.
But then in flat spaces where you need
I know,
that
there's
water
this
scouring
congealing and there's no
velocity,
scouring
It's
velocity.
gonna cause issues of too good of a, or
It's too
little
clean.
flow.
So how
I don't think
far
we'll
would
get
that, how big, how long
No,
a section is
you
that?
will, but
That's,
unfortunately,
The section
misaligned?
of the
but it's
SAC,
unavoidable.
Yeah, no,
Don't look
Heights
perfect,
Road
but the
where it's
area is good.
misaligned and,
60 feet.
okay, do you
He told me
guys?
60 feet. They couldn't see. He went from one end and then he went from the other end. And they could not TV 60 feet.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
So
a
when do you
lot.
wanna fix that? Do you need any action from us?
It's been like that forever. We found out about it about a week ago, so it's clean now, but we're actively on it.
Okay, you don't need a motion or anything,
No,
just do
no,
it.
just letting you guys know. I told you,
Yeah.
that's the
Okay.
decision.
That's cool.
Yes, if we're going to talk about stuff like this in the future, I literally think it should be tagged as, you know, administrative information only, right? Like, you know.
Superintendent's report,
Yeah,
under the
Yes.
category of,
Okay.
look what we did, aren't we great?
There you go.
yeah. No, but that's huge, that catch that.
It is huge.
Steve found it,
Yeah,
and
it's
I
huge.
thought I'd
Gold
Yeah.
star to Steve. And
If we heard about one of
you.
those every month, some people actually watch. It'd be great to know how much work you guys do.
May I just ask, you did not have this comment when they mentioned the fixing of the rim that was hit by the snowplow
Which one was that?
on
Stephanie Lane.
Stephanie Lane.
What was my comment then?
You didn't. You didn't say
I don't remember.
that, to me, I'm sorry, and maybe I'm taking this wrong, but you're
Pain is,
thinking that, or you're saying that this is kind of a waste of our time, but yet you didn't say anything about the Stephanie Lane one, that was a waste. Because
I don't
that, I
even-
think, is going too far.
I don't even remember. And
I don't remember it either.
Anyway, I think the one that drew the line for me was the single, like, house lateral that was SDR 35 instead of Schedule 40. That to me was like,
15
why are we
Graybill.
even talking about it, right? But so some of this other stuff is really kind of important to the health of the system, right? I enjoy hearing about it.
I just think.
I would
it's-
encourage-
I found my line.
I think it should be noted
I
that
found
we're,
where the-
I
I
think it
didn't
should
wanna
be
hear
noted
it.
that we're allowing, that there's a
I
situation.
I
where they're
agree with
using-
you, I agree with Reese, I agree with Susan. You all like to hear it. Thumbs up for me, let's hear it.
Well,
But let's just understand the context instead of like, we need to kind of approve something here.
No, but I do believe that it should be out there that, you know, that there's a pipe underneath the ground that isn't the right one, but we're not sticklers enough that we're gonna make them dig it up because it was in existing condition.
And it's not causing a
And it's in
problem.
the file, a note in the file.
A note in the
Somebody goes
file.
to buy the house, they could come and check it.
Right. That's important.
So I think it's just us doing our due diligence.
And I'm curious who put the pipe in, when they did.
Well,
I
then
don't
you have to
need to
go
know
and
that.
talk to Darren later.
I know, I just love it when these come up and people jack the sewer and put
But,
a sewer.
speaking of the cameraing, did we ever hear anything on the Hoyt Street one? The
No,
one
we
where-
did not. No, we did not.
Okay, that's been 3 months?
Yep.
Yep.
Talked to,
That's the stone wall one.
I talked to Anthony about it today. He's talking about the,
On the corner there near
Yeah.
Woodway.
yeah, up near Woodway.
The
Right,
lady that wanted
Yeah,
a pool
no, we're
house.
still following them.
yeah.
Okay.
Still
Okay.
tracking them.
New business?
I've got one thing, the fence on Brookside, the pump station there.
Wait, but we have to go into new business.
All right,
Oh, sorry.
I'm moving to a new business, are we all set?
I'll second it.
I'll second it.
Okay.
Okay, wait, you're gonna actually make like a decision?
No, I just.
If you can handle
Just
that
talk
with the
about whatever
superintendent.
No, I'm just curious about the fence.
If you have a
Ran
question
into-
for the superintendent.
what's going on with the fence at
Sorry.
Brookside?
I don't know the status.
Okay.
And I can tell you that there's a situation where we had the property line staked.
Right.
If you're talking about the property line all the way around the property, no, as far as I know, we don't have plans to do that are imminent. The other fence, been in the works, but
Okay.
nothing's happened.
If I see anyone who's
This is
concerned.
Brookside Drive?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I run into them at the dump.
Yeah, I bet you do.
Yep,
Okay.
just customer complaint. So,
Ongoing.
Passing it along.
There's it's not on the property line, correct? Okay.
I think so.
Yeah, Brookside Drive, there's a fence encompassing the pump station itself, and we own a lot more property, and then we had that staked and
Yeah, just cleaning.
found
up
out that
bookkeeping.
it's in somebody else's front yard, but that's normal, you know, you wouldn't know where the property line was unless we put a pin in
Stake
it.
it.
I think we agreed to staking it.
Yeah.
I do, but I'll just keep it to myself.
Well, you could always whisper in Ed's ear and get it on the next agenda.
I've done that before.
All right, we're done. Thank you very much, Channel 79. We're over. If you can follow any of that.
I have 5:45 PM. Thank you very much.